Hello. Gosh, I don't even know how to even start this video, but I'm going to do my best and try and keep it like succinct. So I spent the last couple of days just trying to catch up and I guess engaging in my own version of social listening. So I pretty much feel like I've caught up with what's been happening on LinkedIn. I've been tagged in so much stuff. So there is this definite sense of fatigue, I guess, for those of us, and I say those because it's not just me, but there's a group of us and getting bigger every day who have been doing the work internally. So we've been learning, we've been reading, we've been unlearning. We've been trying to show support and allyship in lots of different ways, right? And because we've been on this journey for a few months, to some extent, because we see progress in ourselves and how we're showing up and the things that we're talking about and the changes that we're trying to affect in our organizations, within teams, and within our communities, to some extent, we can almost kid ourselves that that is symptomatic of the positive changes that is happening around us. And then when you read, hear, and see the videos of what's happening in the States, it's that stark reminder that there's still so much more work that we've got to do. So what I want to say from this perspective is it's really important that we stay encouraged. It's really important that we stay focused. And when I say focused, I don't mean like we're all kind of like, skipping left, right, and centre without a plan. But, if you're in this and you're playing the long game, you're in it for the long haul, we will recognise that for every bits of progress that we have within our own sphere of influence, that's not always reflected outside that circle, so to speak. It doesn't mean things are getting worse. It just means in some instances that a lot of the things that sat underneath the surface that weren't ever recorded on mobile phones or video cameras, that we never saw, we are now seeing. And as we are more in tune with what's happening, we are starting to see things that happen on a day-to-day basis, and it's standing out now in terms of like we're looking at the world through new lenses. It's very easy to also feel fatigued and just feel like, oh my God, like I don't even know, like is what I'm doing making a difference? Is some of the things that I'm trying to do, trying to push for, making a difference? And I'm here to say it absolutely is, even if you don't feel it, even if you don't get the immediate feedback. So this is not going to be an easy slog. This is not, whether we're talking about the workplace, whether we're talking about society as a whole, I keep talking about the fact that there are so many layers to this. There's so much context, there's so much complexity with this. And we're potentially pushing against some people who are still in the camp of not recognizing that this is really a problem that needs to be prioritized to be solved. Because I think universally people recognise that, racism is an issue, inequalities is an issue, right? But do they prioritise the solving or the addressing of that? That's two separate things. So for me, I keep my focus. So there's nothing that I've seen as I've caught up over the last couple of weeks that's made me think differently about what it is that I'm trying to do, what it is my company exists to do, what it is, that I can support within the way that I can support. Nothing has changed from that point of view. And that's what I mean by, you have to keep your focus. Whatever it is, the lane that you have chosen to make the changes in the way that you can, keep the focus because that will keep you going. But the other thing to say is if you are tired and you are feeling fatigued and you're almost feeling like this is so overwhelming, like it's almost to the situation of every time you turn on the news, there's something not good. Every time you go onto LinkedIn, there's somebody shouting in inverted commas about how this is not cool, this is not good, this is downright disgusting, this is downright disgraceful. And you can be sat there thinking, like, I'm trying to do this, but like, how can I be doing this when the backdrop is I'm getting so much I'm getting so many reminders that the world still is just not right, and we still have to do so much more. And don't underestimate, I guess is what I'm saying, the impact of what you can make by, even if you're just doing this work for yourself, because you recognise that there's some things that you need to unlearn and then relearn, and there's some issues maybe that you have not been cognizant of, not because it's deliberate, just because it just hasn't been on your radar. I know it's easy for me to say because I've been off the grid for 2 weeks, so it's a bit like I've come back like, yeah, and everybody else is like, yeah. So Shireen, while you've been like bright and breezy because you're here, we've had to be seeing some of this stuff play out. So you've got to take a break, and if you're finding it too much, just switch off. You know, just switch off from social media. Don't read anything. Don't watch the video replays of Jacob being shot 7 times. Don't rewatch things that are traumatic, because we forget in watching those things, particularly as black people, that is traumatic, because every time we see that, that's a reminder of the fact we haven't yet got to the place where we are safe walking while black. It was just something that was sitting on my spirit, I guess, because I was, you know, reading some of the messages and thinking about some of the responses that I'm giving people and some of the wording that I'm using. And it is all about, you know, play the long game. It's all about look after yourself. It's all about the importance of self-care, of unplugging from the grid if you're finding all of this news too much and too overwhelming. Oh, so that's it until tomorrow. Hopefully I can get it like I've got like all my little lists, but I thought I can't do that without talking about this, because then it feels like I've just ignored all of that and then jumped in. So that's me sharing. I'll see you tomorrow.